So we landed.
What's that?
Nothing.
Oh.
Oh, your phone?
So you were the first to leave Guam.
No, just about.
Just about.
Yeah. So I really never see the reconstruction of it. And I didn't go back until 25 years later when we went back, remember, Phil?
Oh yeah, that was what, in 72?
Yeah. And
So you went back. How many years later is that? Like 20 years later?
yeah, that's about that.
No, more than that. 25 years later.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. And I keep telling these two that we were going to go live in the jungle and live, the native way. And they
Oh, I believed it.
these two.
You probably were excited. You were like, I'm gonna get
No,
my
I was
spear.
scared.
Are you scared?
It's just
No
because
Vienna
he
sausages.
didn't know what they didn't know what they were going to eat, and and then all of a sudden we passed this huge M.
The Golden Arches.
And the two of them in the back seat, because we were at the taxi. The two of them nodded at each other and said, "We won't starve."
You went to Guam when you were 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the first time you went.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I remember getting off the plane and I could taste the air.
it's hot and
I was like, wow.
muggy.
It looks like there's a curtain over there, and it's getting closer.
And
then I got rained on.
the humidity there is, if you're not used to it, it is awful. I went to step out on the plane, and my glasses fogged up.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "Wait a minute! I can't go anywhere until I clean my glasses," because they only had the ramps at that time. They don't have a terminal.
There was no jetway.
And we were going down in the regular plane, but then the next day they had a what is that big plane that first came out, the jet?
747.
Yeah. And so they said, "We want to ride there." So I changed the schedule. But that was so funny, though. We won't starve.
I did not like the smell of breadfruit cooking. That's for sure.
The breadfruit?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't like it either.
You
When I
asked
was-
for it.
When I was little, and when you have about 13 or 14 people eating at your table, and you only have one little scrawny chicken,
Right.
and then they have that wild nut sort of, so they grind that up and made it into like flour,
Uh-huh.
and so they make dumpling, so that it will stretch, so that everybody get one or two dumplings, because they were big. I hated dumplings from that day on.
Oh.
To this day, I don't think I want to eat another dumpling.
But you eat wontons.
Well, yeah, that is different. This is...
They're not Guamanian dumplings.
Oh, God. It was awful.
Tell us a story about going for palm fronds with Nina Connie.
To the where?
When you were going to get more palm fronds for the roof
Oh,
with Connie?
this was when we were halfway to the internment camp,
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to stay there like about 1 or 2 days. And so the man climbed the tree, cut down the palm leaves, and the little kids are supposed to be working too, so I was dragging one. And then this reconnaissance plane came over and was just shooting machine guns all over the place, and it hit the rocks, and it ricocheted right over me. I said, "Oh my God!"
That must have been
Just-
scary.
I just about. I thought I was covered with.
With the palm frond?
Yeah, I thought I was covered with that, but
No, I remember you had to tell with James a funny story about you growing up, and that was your funny story.
oh,
Very funny.
Nina Connie is the one who just about drowned me.
Because she didn't she?
She
She
lived-
was running.
They lived in in this in what is it now, Agana Bay,
Uh-huh.
and they live right next to the bay itself, and so they swim. They go out at low tide and get those little fishes or whatever they do with it. And my mom and I came down to her sister-in-law, and Kanye said, "Let's go fishing." They have a little basket that you use it as a trap. And oh God, she clouded up the sand and because it had the coral.
Uh-huh.
And then she goes to here, I got a big one, I got a big one. Get me the basket. Well, I was gonna reel over. Then he said, here, reach it, hold it, because it's got. It was a sea cucumber. I think I made it to the shore in 2 seconds. Like I told you, Connie just about killed me. And then
Those are poisonous.
huh?
Those are poisonous.
Oh God, yes.
No, they're not poisonous?
No.
You,
You can eat them.
you can eat them? Oh, okay.
And then we went to. Then her mother was still in the bay there, and the people in the farm, those who have farms, they have vegetables and stuff that they bring to the city, and her mother, that's how she makes money, is that she buys it and then she resells it, and all the kids have their share of selling. And Connie got a basket of that long beans, and it was hot. And I don't swim. And it was just it's just a little stream. But when you're only this high, anything is over your knees deep. So anyway, she says, let's go across the stream. I said, I can't swim. I'm not going over there. Oh, she says, oh, let's go. I'll give you a piggy bag. Right.
Isn't that the classic fox?
You'll be fine.
Oh, God.
That's a classic story.
Oh, yes.
A
She
fox and the
almost drowned
scorpion.
me.
Or,
Was she bigger than you?
Huh?
was
she
Connie bigger than you?
older
Oh,
than you?
yeah, she was fatter than me. I was a scrawny. I was a scrawny little kid.
Uh-huh.
And then there's another one where we had gone up. We got evacuated from our big house to my uncle, my mother's brother, in Zigo, which is right next to Anderson now.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, there's about 12 people living in this little shack. And anyway, we were supposed to go find some vegetables, in the forest. And there was a reconnaissance plane was going by, and Connie said, let's climb it, and we waved at the pilot. and then, it was okay. I mean, but not too far from where we lived was a schoolhouse, which the Japanese took over, and there was a Japanese flag, and that reconnaissance plane was machine gunning the schoolhouse. Connie and I went, We didn't, and in those days, back in those days, we only had bloomers. We didn't have long pants.
She talked you into some silly things.
Oh, Connie, like I said, Connie almost killed me.
Yeah.
And then another time too, I think it must have been the same reconnaissance plane because he was shooting at the schoolhouse again. And there's a big tree there, like the banyan tree.
Yeah.
And I guess it got fire at one time and there was a hole in that tree. And when we heard that machine gun, Connie and I drove into it. Took us an hour to extract it ourselves.
Hour to extract yourself?
Oh my God.
Oh, Connie and I.
She was your best buddy there.
Well, like I said, we were more than cousins.
Mm-hmm.
We were sisters. More than she had her other two sisters. But oh my God. All the things that I got in trouble for,
Oh, Connie's fault?
it was Connie's doing.
Isn't it always though?
Because she was the leader, I was the follower.
Oh.
But then, of course, I wouldn't have all these stories if if she didn't go.
You guys were each other's maid of honor too, weren't you?
Oh yeah. Well, when she got married, she said she made me, asked me to stand up for her. I said okay. And then when I got married, I said, "You gotta pay me back." And so when she had Edna, she asked me to be the godmother. And when I had him, I said, "You are the godmother." So I said, "We are more tangled together than regular sisters."
Yeah. Pretty much every weekend we would go to her house.
And then during summer, when, summer school's out and I can't afford a babysitter, so I'd ask Connie and Ping if they could take the boys for the weekdays and I'll come and pick them up for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd take them down there on Friday night. No, Monday night, and
Sunday?
then I picked them. No, Monday morning or Sunday morning. I don't know.
Tuesday afternoon.
I'm confused now.
I don't know. Third base.
Anyway, I took them home for the weekends, and I drove down from Hayward to Santa Clara, and I am not the best driver in the world. I drive with my heart in my throat. I'm definitely afraid of it.
Yeah.
Is
But
this
we
when?
did. We went there every weekend.
Yeah, well, that was after you guys were.
That's where I learned how to ride a bike. Was at Nina Connie's house.
Well, that was after you guys were much bigger, and I could leave you at home.
Well,
On
we
the
still went there
daytime.
every weekend.
Yeah, but we went there on weekends, but when I could leave you by yourselves.
Yeah.
And Ted, oh my God, another one who pulls jokes on me. I would call, and find out if they're home from school and what are they doing. And Ted says, "Oh, nothing. Garage door fell."
What was it?
Garage door fell.
I mean, I can't get too excited or whatever because I'm at work and I can't leave. Oh, God.
Yeah, we're good.
And then he was at parochial school and they were studying the Bible.
how's that
the
been
burning
going?
bush. There was
Oh yeah. No, that was we made a movie in high school, or
Oh well, whatever it was, they were doing
we
that,
we did a reenactment of Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments,
and he was.
and we did the burning bush by pouring gasoline in the bird bath.
Oh, please tell me this film still exists.
No, the poor bird bath cracked.
Yeah,
Now that can't you
that
see
was
that
Super 8 film.
you
My buddy Kevin Simonson might have it somewhere.
you're too tame. You didn't have
really
any
am.
escapades.
You were not left alone, because I knew what happens when you leave kids alone for the summer.
Oh.
We discovered gunpowder and gasoline, and we had match wars.
See, I never had access to gunpowder or gasoline. Otherwise, I would have
No,
been
it
a way
wasn't
cooler
gasoline.
kid.
It was charcoal.
I made gunpowder, but it didn't work as well as gasoline. And actually, a friend of ours found some powder that his dad had for making his own bullets. And so we made bombs out of that.
And then there's another one where
You can make bombs out of caps, too.
I
It's
watched
dangerous, though.
Dallas all the time. That was my favorite movie. Serials on they for Christmas, I think
Oh, yeah.
they went and got a poster of JR.
That's right. Larry Hagman.
Yeah, he was the big guy there, so everybody's in love with him, you know. So and then I came home from work, and closed the door, pulled my pants down, and sat, and there's this JR looking at me.
We put the poster right on the inside of the bathroom door.
Oh, okay.
And then another time is that they took, I don't know whether it was their clothes or whose clothes it is, but they stuffed it with dry grass and sat it on my toilet.
And
And
she
I-
had like a wig head, those styrofoam. And
Yeah.
she had a wig, and so you just put that on top of the clothes, and you have your own dummy.
I wasn't paying attention too much. I was just gonna go to the bathroom because I just came off from work, and I closed the door. I opened it, and there was this thing sitting there. I said, "Oops, excuse me."
Alright, shut up. Hey. Go. Is the gate closed?
I don't think so.
Out, come on.
Oh dear.
Dogs have had their dinner. They are excited.
And then learning to drive was something else.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about this the other week.
I supported
Me learning?
the DMV in
Oh.
California for about a year or two,
Oh,
trying
and all your different tries.
trying to learn how to drive. Because in those days they
runs in the
make
family.
you parallel park. And my dad had this Ford.
Try.
I don't know what it was, but it was big and heavy. No steering wheel, no steering brake. It was the
No power
old-fashioned one. And I tried my best to parallel park. I ended up, instead of going this way, I ended up going this way. And my teacher said, "Let's go home." And then when we were in Kentucky, I said, "Oh, great! It's a back street back. The towns are little by Fort Knox." So we went down there, and we had this Austin Healey car that loves to spend at the at the repair shop more than with us.
Austin Healy.
Anyway,
That must have been exciting in 61, 62.
anyway, I find he was trying to teach me, and I'm going down the road, on second gear, and he says, put it on third. Well, I went like that, and I went into reverse. He says, pull over. No more.
We're done here.
And then when I went to get my driving test, I was okay until the state trooper.
You got pulled over by a state trooper on
No,
your driving
no,
test?
that's who does the. That's who conducts the exam
The
in
road
Kentucky.
test.
Oh,
He came in with full regalia,
With his Smokey Bear
guns
hat.
and everything. Oh, I was so nervous, my legs was going like this. And of course the car was going like this. I mean, it's funny now, but it wasn't then. And then I would keep going, and he says, I'd stay on, I was on first gear, and then I got snuff his speed to get into the second gear, and then that's as far as I went. And and the guy looked at me and says, lady, does this car have a third gear?
We'll go back now. I'm okay.
And then we went to, I don't know whether it was the same one, or another time, but he says, we were driving down this little road, and they have this drainage, the water drainage by the road. And it's not deep, but he says, back up. I did, right into the ditch.
So did you pass?
Huh?
Did you pass your test?
Of course not.
You had a Falcon for a while, didn't you?
Well, I bought the car already, and my dad had just retired, and the poor guy had to. I was already working at St. Rose, and the poor guy had to stay up until 11 o'clock to go get me. And I was thinking,
Because that's when your shift ended.
I was going to say, oh, poor guy, he should be in bed, sound asleep instead of. So I went again to get my driver's license. And I knew I wasn't going to pass.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't dressed for a photo,
Mm-hmm.
or anything. And so I guess they got pity on me, because when we got back to the station, or the DMV, he says, let's go get your picture. Oh, I almost fainted.
Nice.
And being a scrawny little kid, everybody picked on me.
Really?
Oh, heck yes. But I was too scared to tell anybody because they were so big. And my brother, my adopted brother, who's, Connie's brother and all that jazz. Anyway, we were going to school. This was just before the Japanese invasion. And there's a little curve from our house, the little curve to the schoolhouse.
Who is
Right.
this?
Huh?
Oh, Daryl?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then there's this big, huge banyan tree with all those little, roots or barks or whatever that it is in there. And of course they have a tail of, ghosts and whatever monsters are there. And he's bigger than me. He's got longer legs. And he ran up here, and I am still back here shaking like a leaf. But I never told anybody because I figured I'd get it worse if I did tell on them.
Mm-hmm.
No, you got to put bullies in their place, or else they'll keep doing it.
Yes, but I was too small and I was too dumb. I didn't want to get in trouble. any more than than I was already. But the things that they did to me.
Been trying for years to get you to tell these stories. That's
know.
good. I'm glad we got you here.
I know.
To make this a regular thing.
I'll come up every time, yeah.
Regular vacation.
No, because I remember the first time I heard the story about you and the and Connie and the palm trees was when James was in, I think, kindergarten or first grade. You had to tell a funny story about growing up, and I was like, that is not a funny story.
Not coming down from the and it was a tall coconut tree, and the coconut tree has branches, and it's not smooth,
Right.
Ooh.
It's like the palm trees out here. And when that machine gun was shooting the schoolhouse, Connie and I just went thump. We didn't take our time.
No, I remember though in Hayward, our neighbor across the street, Mr. Fish,
Ah,
it turned out he was an American pilot stationed on Guam.
mm.
And he was like, oh yeah, we used to shoot at anything that moved.
Well, the schoolhouse was full of Japanese there.
Yeah.
I don't think they saw us, but
Yeah, but what do
when
you
you
know?
hear the machine gun over your head,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, those are 50 caliber bullets. Those are big slugs.
and then of course the Japanese in the where we were in my uncle's shack, they go from house to house, and they make you give or plant or look for it in the forest your share of their food. And we never ate this thing. How were we supposed to eat it? Well, it's those ferns, that curls up before it opens up.
Mhm.
We were supposed to go find those little things, because they were stir frying it, I
Oh,
guess.
fiddlehead
whatever.
ferns are delicious.
Yeah, well, we never ate that thing. Anyway, Kanye and I saw this big patch of ferns, and lots of little ferns. So we sat down and, I don't know, we fell asleep. And then we when we came back, it said, we found a beehive and it was chasing us. Like I said, anything that happened to me.
Connie
was all
talked you into it,
Connie's.
huh?
Oh yes.
She made me take a nap.
Oh yes. And since we were just the two girls, Connie had a younger sister, but she was too young to be sent out, So it was just Connie and me.
So you were like
And-
10.
And then, of course, the boys.
Who was the sister?
Sylvia was younger. And
Oh, Sylvia Getty?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she's Connie's sister?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was
well,
wondering how they were related.
Yeah. And then Margaret's mother is
Dotting?
Connie's sister, too.
Oh, it's
But
so
she
confusing.
wasn't there. She was down in the city because she was already 17, 18 years old, and she, got their own mind already. So she was staying at some aunt or uncle or whatever. So she wasn't there with us. So
In your
But-
house.
no,
Yeah.
and it was just Connie and me. Oh my God! And back in those days, you don't have long pants. When you go in the field.
You were barefoot, weren't you?
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
One pair of shoes, and that's just for going to church.
Yeah.
And our backyard, well, it's not really a backyard because this is our house, and there's a cliff, sort of like a cliff. Maybe it was just a small hill, but for when we were little, it's a cliff. And all around there was the sword grass.
Ooh.
And sword grass, if you
That's
don't
like head height,
That sounds terrible.
and you walk through it. It cuts your arms up.
if you don't have long pants or long shirts,
Yeah.
that
We went to
kills
a
you.
job in Guam, and that happened to us. And actually, Rourke stumbled upon a hornet's nest, and so he had cuts and stings when he got. Plus, it was like 90 degrees and humid,
And humid is 100.
and so we had to like take breaks when we were doing this job to go sit in the creek. But they called it the river.
Yeah, well, like I said, anything that comes up to your knee is
Yeah.
a river.
Is that when you got the photo of you pointing at dirt?
No, that was for your Uncle Ted's wedding.
Oh.
This was a few years later.
Do we still have that photo?
No, that one burned up.
Yeah.
You know what I was pointing at? A pillow basalt.
You're pointing at dirt.
No, I was pointing at a pillow basalt. It was so cool. You could see the outlines of the basalt, and it had already altered to clay.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, that was a really nerdy photo.
That was his introduction to geology.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, it's something they told me in school, and I see it in the wild.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Because Guam has got two distinct geologies. The south is more volcanic, and the north is coral. And so
We had one hill.
yeah,
It's a volcano hill.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you measure it from the seabed,
Oh,
it's taller than Everest.
yeah.
What? That's pretty tall.
Well,
Yeah.
because
It's right at the
It's volcano.
Mariana Trench.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But that's why really Guam doesn't have that much of a earthquake.
I was gonna say, does it not have earthquakes?
Yeah, they do
Couple,
have
but not very often.
often.
She
A
saw it, so-
typhoon is more of their thing.
Yeah, that's the more common one.
Yeah.
Typhoon?
Yeah.
We had one, this was, I guess, before the war or right after the war, in Japanese invasion, I mean, we had a big typhoon. Really bad.
During the war?
It took the roof off our house
Whoa.
Whoa!
and landed it about 2 miles away.
Whoa! What year was this?
Huh? This is our house by the airport. My mom and dad built a cement house.
Uh-huh. When was this? What typhoon?
It was like before the Japanese invasion. But it's a 2-story house, and the floors on it is teak wood.
Oh, wow.
So it's it's quite heavy and it also it was cement all over. But and we lived in the basement for I don't know how long.
How many people lived at the house?
Huh?
How many people lived at the house?
Well, like I said, it was
Everybody.
Connie's family, my grandparents, and my brother and me. So we had, I think there was 3 beds in there, and the rest everybody lives in the sleep on the mat on the living room. But and then my grandfather, my dad's father, he was
I never met him.
no, he died when I was about 4 4.
Just like my grandfather.
I was his favorite because I was the scrawny one, so he kind of took care of me. And the sword grass were taller than me. And there's a little trail that goes down to his little shack down there. And if Mom can't find me, she'd go upstairs and look over the house. And if the path is going like this, she says, oh, she's on her way to Grandfather. And then an hour later or so, you'd bring me back.
How old were you?
About maybe 4.
Yeah.
But I wasn't big enough, you know. And he was the one who said, I know how to make her fat. I said, how? He said, we can get a lot of bees and let them sting you. I said, thank you. And then my grandfather, who lived down the house there, this was in '39, I think. He was dying in the hospital, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I come running to my mom's room, because Dad was away from Pan Am, and I said, "Grandfather pinched me," and she says, "No, there's no such thing." I said, "Look, there's a red mark on my thigh. He pinched me." And then I told her that he had on a blanket that was a pink and white checkered woolen blanket, and he was on a train. I didn't know what a train was.
That's weird.
It was really weird. I never saw a train. I don't think I never saw a book that had a train.
How'd you know what a train was?
I didn't know. But that's what my mind told me it was. And then, of course, I think after he passed away, a year later, they usually have, in Guam, they usually have an anniversary rosary for the dead.
Yeah, your 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, and this was the first year. And so we were, not paying attention to it. And then there was a bang, 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 bang on the floor. Like on the ceiling here and the floor upstairs. We were all up there ready for bed because this was about 8 o'clock. And this was just before the war, the invasion. And we said, uh-oh, we forgot something. And so my mom said, oh, it's Grandfather's anniversary. So if we start the rosary, it won't happen. And back there, you don't have any doors that close or windows that, locked or anything. Everything is open, And so they finally decided that they were going to see if somebody was playing tricks on us. So they took ashes and